Welcome to the House of Legends podcast, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, founder and CEO of the House of Legends by Graciela, a mindset coach and mother of 3 beautiful kids. My mission and passion is to provide you with the tools that will allow you to unlock and bring out the best version of yourself, which is the key to all change. Some of those tools are mindset, identity work, and emotional mastery. Not only that, but I will also bring you powerful conversations with legends like you, showcasing their journey, life work, and allowing us to learn from their experiences and insights. So don't miss an episode. Tune in each week to the House of Legends podcast and let's unlock the power of your own legend. Let's dive in today's episode. Welcome back to the House of Legends, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, and in today's episode, we have Clare Garner. She's a lifestyle and strategy mentor, and more than that, she's an icon. She has created this beautiful movement, the millionaire movement, and actually, I love that phrase, going from average to icon. With that being said, Claire, if you can introduce yourself, let us know who you are and what got you to where you are right now.
Oh, thank you, babe. Yeah, so my name's Claire. I'm from the UK, if you can't hear my accent, which is, I know, rare.
Correct.
So yeah, I call myself a lifestyle strategist and mentor because I don't really like labels and I never know what to call myself. But essentially, I just help ambitious women go from average to iconic. So whatever that means to them, it's about stepping out of the shadows and living into your full potential. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, by the way, I forgot to mention that you have more than 10 years of experience. So we're treating with a pro. So that is huge. One of the things that well, I was checking your profile and your live work is that we can see so many faces on the internet, but you have one characteristic, and I shared with you on your podcast, by the way, that you really showing up with this beautiful energy. You're moving, you're like showing up with this beautiful, realistic, I can tell your energy, I can feel your energy like miles away. And that is one of the things that I think, especially in the last few months of 2023 and 2024, it's just been, we are looking for that. We are looking for a mentor that is not only, like you said, has like a label, that actually we can go with her and she's approaching ourselves or business from a holistic way.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would love if you can elaborate more, like what is, let's say, if someone is working with you, what is the first thing that you do with them? Let's say I'm going with you. What is the first thing that you ask me, or what is the first interaction?
Well, normally people come to me initially for like branding and content stuff, right? So they're like, that's normally like why people enter my world. And just to give you an example, so today I had an initial call with a one-to-one client, and she came in with the aim of branding and content and messaging and positioning and that kind of stuff. And within about 5 minutes, we established that actually it wasn't so much a branding and a content problem. It was actually an alignment problem. And she wasn't really lit up doing what she was doing. So that whole, and I said to her at the end, I was like, I'm not the fluffy mentor, right? I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. So if you come in my world, come prepared for that, because otherwise I would be doing you a disservice. Right. So really the first call is about understanding who you are, what you want to do in the world. Like, what is your big vision? I want to know, like, if you could only do one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? And if it's not what you're doing now, then there's some shit we need to figure out, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that approach. And you mentioned one of the things that I really love, and I think I mentioned to you as well, that I love that no BS, no sugarcoating approach. I'm really honest, direct, and also loving. I'm really loving, but I think having that beautiful balance is key, and especially as a mentor or coach, because sometimes you do, and hello, my name is Graciela. I've been there when I was just really like, hey, how are you? Things like that. It's just so nice. So like nice. But I was not helping them and I was not
Yeah.
helping myself, right? But when we take this approach of like, I'm gonna be direct, I'm just gonna really understand where are you coming from, and from there making those helping you just to see what are the shifts that you need to do, and from there you deciding to move forward. I think when we have that approach as a coaches, things change and people can feel our energy. People can feel if we really have something going on. If we are and I'm not want to use this word because this is like a buzzword, like it's everywhere. You have to embody that. I think
Yeah.
embodiment is something, it's like brushing your teeth. It's something that either you do or not. I mean, uh, and going back to your practice, when someone come to you, like you said, it's about message, branding, and what is the second part that you work with clients as well?
So the first part is actually identity and embodiment. So it's that understanding of like who they are, who they're here to be. And it's really, I kind of amalgamate it, right? So I have three core areas. So identity, branding, and leadership are like my three core pillars. But it's not like one session we do one session we do another. It's all amalgamated. It's all kind of merged as part of an ongoing process. So my big thing initially is about the embodiment piece. It's a buzzword, but it is so important, because if we're not embodied in our future self, then we're just going to stay stagnant where we are, because we're only ever showing up as who we've always been, not who we're going to be. So that is like the very first pivotal thing. Like once I understand obviously the big picture and what they're here to do. And then it's about bringing her to the party, right? It's about bringing her in her fullness, so that when I say we, it's like me and her co-creating in that space to then disrupt the branding and elevate the leadership and work on the authority and the positioning and all that kind of stuff. But until we get her involved,
Well, yeah.
it's like, so that's kind of where I come from.
I love that. And I love that you use this word disrupt. I think that is one of the parts that sometimes when we go and when we come here online, we check, of course, we hire a coach, mentor, you name it. And sometimes we try just to see what other people are doing or just without copying them, right? But it's just like,
Yeah.
what if I can disrupt? What if I can do things in different way? And when we start asking those questions and having the guidance, so, like someone like you, we unleash what is inside. One of the things that I think I shared with you on the podcast as well, that especially on my case when I hire a coach, it's not because maybe she is in the same industry as me, but if I see just one step ahead or something that light me up, I just go there. Sometimes I don't, I'm not looking for who's doing this amount of money, because that is relative. But what I'm looking is like, why is that person is calling me? Is something is like me. So I feel something with her, because when we do that, actually she has a code that is going to serve me for the rest of my life.
Oh my God, yes, I love that so much. And this is what more people need to do, right? We need to start using this discernment so much more. So rather than looking at, okay, how many months can this coach get to, because that's what they talk about. It's like, wow, she's got something like in her codes, like you said, or in her embodiment or in her identity that I haven't got. If I get in her space and in her frequency, I can bring that in myself, and then I can be the one to create the XK months for myself. That's the kind of angle that we need to start approaching from.
Yeah, and that is so true, because one of the things, and sometimes and I'm talking for personal experience when it comes to that, I don't have to define why I feel attracted to that person. If it is a full yes, it's like I'm gonna figure out the way to work with her, because like I mentioned to you, it's something inside me that is calling me. And after that, I was just like, well, maybe it was this code, maybe it was this thing. And from there, I also, one of the things, and I would love for you to expand here, when a client comes to me, in my case, it's like I receive them, but also I let them know I do have really, I will say, strong boundaries with the things that I or in standards as well all the things that I will do, that I'm available for, and vice versa. One of the things that I think it's like a filter, and I would love for you to extend, how do you set those boundaries and standards for you and your business and where you're going right now?
So yeah, boundaries has been an interesting journey for me. Which, being really honest, I probably only, I would say, mastered this year. Before
Good.
this year, it was kind of free for all, right? It was like, have as much of me as you want. I don't care, I'm up for grabs. And that was not healthy for me, for clients, for my family, for anyone. Yeah. So for now, well, like from then, it's very much just about, again, that self-awareness, right? Of this is what I offer. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. For me, I will offer bespoke packages, right? So if someone wants a certain thing, then if it feels in alignment, I will work with them to create that for them, because I believe it isn't a one size fits all. Not everyone wants a call a week. Not everyone wants Telegram access. So, I'm very open to those discussions. And it's when you create that container, if you like, it's everyone being, okay, this is what it is. This is when we're available. These are where we can dive into. These are maybe off limits, although I don't really have much that's off limits because I do lifestyle, right? So business, life, I'm for it all. But it's more, for me, it's more about the time.
Got it.
And again, I don't want to say that I will never work evenings, right? I mean, it's 8 o'clock at night now. I'm on a podcast because a lot of my world are the other side of the world.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we are here. Yeah, correct. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm quite free flowing in my boundaries, and I just do what feels good to me with any one person. And it's just figuring out what that looks like for that specific project, right? For that specific client.
Yeah. And one of the things that you mentioned is, this is really amazing, because we'll been there. You will be there. Like when we are like, I'm here, reach 24/7 Telegram box, name it. And we attract, one of the things that I was in the previous years, I was attracting, and I'm not blaming no one or putting fingers out there, and neither to myself. But when we don't put that clear, even with Boxer, even with our hours, we attract people that are actually, they need, and excuse me if you're hearing this and you feel cold, but we need a nanny, or you need someone like mother them. And that is something that is not helping them. It's not helping us. Like you mentioned, even when we are offline and people seeing that we are online, they're like texting back. And when we start changing or perceiving ourselves, and I think all comes to ourselves, when we change that part of ourselves, people rearrange, meaning the clients that we get to attract, the quality. If we do, like you mentioned, we do exceptions, like maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the morning, you name it, it's because we have this deeper connection with that client and it feels so right. But it's because of that, not because you have to, or you know what I mean?
I'm actually really passionate about that. So I'm a firm believer of, I don't believe in balance. So when it comes to living your purpose, and I think we touched on this in our podcast, but when you're living your purpose, there's no such thing as balance, because it's all part of just living your best life. It's harmony, right? It's a life of harmony. And so if I'm, I don't know, with my kids at a weekend and something happens and suddenly I get inspiration, I'm like, oh my God, I want to like create a bit of content right now because I'm lit up. I'm not going to stop myself from doing that because it's a weekend.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't do anything all weekend, right? So again, it's that discernment and that allowance and acceptance of, we get to create our own rules. We don't have to adhere to anyone else's rules. So it's what feels good to us, and that can change.
Yes. And I would love to go deeper, because you mentioned in the last few months you have changed a lot. And I would love for you if you can mention some of those changes, and where were those like maybe the decisions that you had to make, or what was that for you? So if you could
Oh my
mention
God.
here, I will love for
Yeah.
you to stand on that, because it's really amazing. Because sometimes we see people online and we see them really confident, like you are really confident. You're like, uh, um, I think you bought like a how they call it?
Oh, the gold like bra thing.
Yes, I don't, yeah, it was like a bra, like something
Yeah,
like.
it's a bra, it's not really a bra.
And I was just like, wow, I mean, wow, it looks really good on her. Like, and you're like, put it and you're like showing up. And when we see that, we think, oh, maybe it's easy for her, right? It's just like, yeah, it was one day
Yeah.
or 1 month. But I would love for you, like I said, extend what was being, yeah, and you mentioned as well that 10 years of evolution, but in the last 3 months, the
Yeah.
major shifts.
Oh my God. So
Correct.
I'm so like pumped up by this because I literally just did a masterclass, a 3-day masterclass last week called Iconic as Fuck, which was all of the codes
Yeah.
that I have like embodied and learned and implemented over the last 3 months. So I literally like there are so many that I made it into a masterclass and it sold out. Like it sold out completely. It was so amazing. So I mean, it would take me a long time to go into all of them because that was 3 days. But some of the pivotal
Yeah.
things for me, one were releasing fear of judgment, right? That was a massive
Okay.
one, huge. Because yes, I am confident. Yes, I am empowered. I've always been quite outgoing, an extrovert. But I have definitely dimmed my light for a
Okay.
lot of my life. I mean, I was in an abusive relationship for 15 years. So there was a whole period of my life where I didn't really even know who I was. I kind of lost myself. I couldn't use my voice. I couldn't share my truth. I couldn't be who I wanted to be unapologetically. I had to really kind of mold myself to certain
Yeah.
situations, right? So that was 4 years ago that I left that relationship. And that whole period in itself has been like a massive
Yes,
transformation.
yeah, transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing.
huge, huge.
Yeah.
And like a reclamation, right? Like a reclamation of my own personal power and coming back to me and
Yeah.
finding like who Claire even is
Yeah.
without that fear and that, all that stuff. So this has been a big part of my journey. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping other women step into this because it doesn't matter, if you've not been in abusive relationships or whatever, but at some point, most women have dimmed their light.
For
They've
some, yeah.
changed themselves for society, for friends, for family, for clients, for whatever. And they are not truly who they want to be. They're not showing up as who they really are. So this is like my big kind of why, right? That's like why I do what I do. But so, yeah, going back to the pivotal things, like I had an old Instagram account and I mean, this is a long story short, so just to condense it, it was unaligned. There were like 7,000 followers on there, but they were really, really unaligned with who I was now, right? Who I was becoming.
Okay.
And so I had about 4 month period where my followers were just like going blah, 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 like down, down, down every single day. Had a massive effect on my mental health, like really, really took a
Mm,
toll on me.
okay.
And then I got to a point, like November last year, I had been watching Nick BG, who's my mentor, online for a little while. And something just clicked. Like she posted something and I was like, I need to work with her. Like I need to work with this woman. Like she's going to bring out in me what
Oh.
I know is in me.
Mm,
Like we were saying, like you don't really necessarily need to know what someone's going to do for you.
yeah,
It's who you can become in their space.
that's it. Yeah,
And
that's true.
that's a big thing that I say to my people as well, right? It's like, my energy, like you see my energy. Imagine who you could become being around that, like being in that space. And that's what I saw with her. So I signed up for her mastermind. And as soon as I did that, she kind of gave me the permission slip to just start going all in.
I love it.
I started the new Instagram account. And from that moment, it was just growth after evolution, after ego death, after elevation, just so much involved in that. I would say if anyone's listening, like go and watch my 3-day masterclass. It's free. Iconic as fuck. Like link will be in my bio and stuff. But that literally has everything that I experienced to go from like who to like who the fuck is she? And that's what happened in the space of kind of like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I love the fact that you mentioned some important points. One of them, and I'm just gonna light up to one of them is being the like judge. Like, what are people? They're gonna say something. Who are them? Who are they? Like, sometimes we have so much in our mind that like we think like people are gonna say this. People, one of the things that I discovered and delivered me a lot, like people think about ourselves. They're scrolling 5 minutes, and after that, let me tell you, they go back to themselves. They think about themselves, and we think that they're gonna think about this or they're gonna see that. No, and if they do, and if they put a comment, one of the things that I was sharing with a client because she's like, oh, they're commenting and like that. It's like that is normal. And if they do comment in something, you can respond. Like if you want to respond, it's like actually that is your experience, amazing, and I do respect that. So be it. That's it. You have to move. And like you mentioned as well, being around someone that lights up something, it's key. Nor sometimes we say, yeah, but like the energy is energy. Being in that frequency, and like you said, you felt like she gave me the permission to sleep. And actually, one of the things that I do have and on the back of my mind is when we come across a new mentor, a new coach, actually it's because it's divine timing and we are ready to receive that code. That's it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been doing, and especially for coaches that I work with, is just I see them as same as me. I don't see them like, "Oh, this is like," I do acknowledge that they're my coaches and I love them, I adore them, but what I see is like, you are human like me. You are here to expand, to help me expand something that is inside me, but my evolution is mine. So for you, I want to just extend more. Something like Nick is amazing. I love her. She's going to be in the podcast as well. But one of the things that I just want to take even your power back is like, yes, it was her help and her energy, but let me tell you, your evolution, that magic, yours was
Oh,
yours.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
right moment,
Mm.
just ready to listen, maybe one word, maybe one shift,
Yeah.
and you're the one. And so when we recognize, like, yes, I love their help and all that, but I was the one that I did the work. And making, and I just want to highlight that so much because sometimes like without her, we love the people, and I don't want to take that recognition, but it was you. Okay.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that for our clients as well, right? Because we
Wow.
can we can kind of pedestal our coaches and our mentors, absolutely. But yeah, when we have clients, you're the ones, you guys listening, like you're the ones doing the work. Like
Yes.
our job is just to co-create with you. It's just
Mhm.
to hold space for you. It's just to like raise you up, right? Hold you accountable for what you're actually capable of and like, kind of give you a bit of a kick up the arse if you're like, playing too small because
Yeah.
you're actually capable of so much more. But if you don't do the work, nothing's going to change. So, yeah, everything happens because of us, right? Because of like the person doing the work. Absolutely. I love that.
And another thing that I want to highlight, I say just two, but I want to highlight this third part. It's like the thing that I mentioned now for the third time to you, your energy, the way that you show up actually is unique, and it's actually that is attracting the right
Yeah.
tribe, right people that are just ready. What do you
Yeah.
have for me? I'm ready. Or even if they're not ready fully yet for whatever thing, they come, they're enjoying, they're
Yeah.
commenting, but you're like, oh God. And the only thing, it was just myself being more of who I am. I
Yeah.
think
100%.
sometimes we use this, and I use it all the time, like with the word becoming. It's like, actually, you already are. Like, it's just like you said, giving ourselves permission, removing layers
Yeah.
of, I'm not that. We already are.
Yeah. It's like coming back,
Like,
coming
come.
back. who we
coming
are. Yeah.
back to that woman that is really seeing herself as this leader, seeing herself as the one that, like you mentioned, on this movement, millionaire movement, helping women going from like what we think, or maybe they think of themselves. Like sometimes we think we don't see ourselves in that icon, that leader, and we think like, just I'm here, I'm just like this average, and we are not. And when we have someone like you, that you already walk the path and you're still walking the path. One of the things that I realized as well as leaders is never ending. And that doesn't mean that we just stop and just absorbing knowledge. It's actually no. We walk the path while we learn, we walk and we help others. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. And I just want to touch on like just a couple of things that you said there.
Yeah.
So when you're saying about, my energy and it's attracting the right people, this is so key. This is so key because I started this Instagram account. It's 27th of March now. So beginning of January, 3 months ago. It's not big, like, it's not big. It's got like, I don't know, whatever, 430 followers, something like that. But
Good.
every single one of them is aligned.
Mm.
And I know this because I actively engage with every single new follower on my page. If they don't vibe, they're out because I'm now so precious about my space. Like, this is my home, right? My Instagram page is my
Yeah.
home. And if I don't like your vibe, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, you're gone. Because
I love that. Yeah. Bring it on. Yeah, I
my
love that.
space and I don't have to allow you into my space, just like you don't have to follow me, right? And it works both ways. But what I wanted to touch on, Graciela, is I've attracted these, dream clients, dream audience, aligned people because I'm showing up as me. Like, but not just showing up as me, like fully 100% unapologetic, unfiltered, sometimes unhinged, like, but all of it, it's real and it's true. And yeah, it can be polarizing and it can be big and it can be blunt, but it can also be fun and it can be vulnerable and it can be sexy and it can be all of these different things because it's all me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when we lean into that, we attract aligned clients, aligned people who want to be in our space. And that has been an absolute game changer.
Yeah, and I can see that, like I said before to you, I can see that you, I mean, in going back before I highlight this point about the account, it doesn't matter even if your account has 100 followers. If those followers are, or people that join you are aligned, amazing. Might as well to having that, because there's so many people that have thousands and thousands and not even engaging. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Been there.
it's just it's just pointless. But when it comes to being authentic, it's just I think that is the magnet. Like, you're attracting who you are being. One of the things that I want to mention, and this happened for me, I will say back in 2000, late 2022, early 2023, that people were saying, and I'm not going to mention this coach, it's like, you don't have to be put up to it 24/7. People are not going to relate. And I was trying to do that. Like, you know what? And at one point, I remained in that thought for a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. But I was just like, you know what? For me, my standard right now in this season is I like to be put together when I show up. And I don't care if they don't think that I'm doing the dishes with makeup. That is my standard. That is what
Yeah.
feels right to me. And if people don't resonate with that, amazing, because they're not my clients. So
Yes.
like you said, you know what? I'm just gonna show up because I like this show. I like to show up in the way that I want. Uh,
Yes.
and this mentor was saying you have to show up messy. And I was like, and for me, the way that my thought process is like, well, for me, it's like going to do my hair. If I go to my hair and the person that does my hair, she has a messy dread, a messy hair. I don't know, that I can see that she hasn't done nothing. I was like, for me, it's not something that I feel attracted to, but it
Yeah.
all depends of the way that we see ourselves, right?
for many people, they can own it and they like can have just the bone here and just like that. And that is amazing. I do admire that, but I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah.
And we own everything who we are. It's just like things become more like easy. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to like take care of every single detail, if that makes sense. So that's, yeah.
I love that. And like you said then, like your coach said, or the coach said, you know, that you have to do this. Like if anyone says you have to do anything, like that in itself is a red flag because like
Yeah.
no one has to do anything. Like you get to decide, you get to choose. Like we're trailblazers, right? Like in our world, we are leaders. We go first. You get to make up the rules. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to do anything that doesn't align with you, that doesn't feel good to you. And if any coach out there is telling you that you have to do anything, then I would personally run a mile.
Yes, and I think that also comes to understanding ourselves, like just being mindful of the people that we like you mentioned, admit to our life work, and I think that is key. One of the things as well that has changed in the last few months in my practice as well. Even there are people that even have the resources to invest in. I think right now it's just only for things that I'm just offering. I have to have this, and I don't know if this is gonna sound too personal, but I just have to have this takes with this person, because sometimes they can have the money, but if I don't feel like it's gonna be like a good partnership, it's like I said no. And before, for me, it was really hard to say no, especially the things that I get to offer are not like just that accessible. But I was just like, no, and it feels so right, because even if, and this person actually said, but you're a coach, you have to help people. It's like, you can look for somebody else. Like, I'm a coach, I'm a service provider, I do get to help people. But if I don't feel this, if I don't feel like we are fully aligned, it's not going to work out for you, and it's not going to work out for me. Another big thing as well, when we accept someone, we, even if we're miles apart, we're sharing our energies back and forward, and might as well just don't having that client, don't having that client that trying to be the one that is just receiving people because have the resources, right? I would love to your point of view on that.
Yeah, I agree so much. And I think it's something that's really hard for people in the beginning, you know,
Yeah.
especially when you're kind of starting out and you're just building up like your client base. And you know, you're the money, right? It comes to the money, and you're
Yes.
like, I need money, I need to live, you know, like
That is a business. Yeah.
yeah. So I get it, and we've all been there. Like we've all been there, but there has to come a point where you, and again, I think this comes to self-worth as well, right? It's like you have to value yourself more than you value money.
Mm.
So it's like that, you know, selling your soul for money. Because if you start doing that, then you will start diluting
Mm.
your own energy because it's starting to be exasperated in areas where it's not reciprocated. And
Yeah.
therefore, it's just getting diluted. And then you're not going to be able to service the people that actually are the dream fits because you're being kind of drained over here,
Yeah.
right? So the more that you can hold in your self-worth and know that anything that you release or that you kind of say no to is just creating space for the right thing, the right people to come in. Because imagine if we said yes to everyone and we suddenly had like, I don't know, whatever, 10 one-to-one clients and they all drain the hell out of us. But
It's,
then we have
it's not gonna be
dream
work.
clients knocking at the door and we've got no space.
Yeah, that's true.
We
Yeah,
have.
and you touch as well one of the most important topics. And when it comes online, I think it could be really, like you said, sometimes polarized, that when we come to business, and especially for women, and I was there back in 2021. I was eager to help people, help women, and that isn't a standard. If we're here because we have a product service that is helping people, right? But sometimes we have that, like, I want to just help and help and help. And sometimes we don't take in consideration that the thing that we offer is transformational. And we just, either we price too low, or we see like, I'm just helping people, I don't care about the money, and we are wrong here. One of the things that has changed as well in the last, I will say, not 2 months, it was, I would say 4 months, is being understanding money, actually understanding that if I am a business, it's like in a store. Not because the other stores want to help or dress people, they're just selling and like releasing everything, right? It's like I have to see myself like I'm offering a product that has value, and when I see that, this movement of energy, meaning releasing the product and receiving the money, is going to feel really, really good. But if I don't see myself as a business owner fully, because sometimes even it doesn't matter in what level you are, it doesn't matter if you're making 15, 20, 10K, 25K. Sometimes this is still thing of like, I'm serving people, I don't care about the numbers. Why you don't care? Get curious. I was getting so curious. Yes, I do care, because this is a business. If I want to help people, guess what? Money is a neutral resource. But when I put labels, when I do have still beliefs that unconsciously are running the show, I'm going to just keep myself in certain amounts. And that was a huge work for me, understanding that if it is a business, actually, it's amazing to be greatly paid for the thing that I'm doing, and better in this relationship with money. And this is especially, like I said, for women in business, because on men, I don't see that struggle with them. I don't see that they like,
So true. Yeah.
or I see amazing women celebrating 100K days or 200K days, you name it, and that is amazing. But so many of us is like, or before, it's like, I don't want to share that because people are gonna think this is about the money. Who cares? Actually, the right client is never my best clients. They're not even asking me like, how much was your last month, like they don't. Sometimes we have assumptions, right? But the main thing in the last 4 months that I've been just integrating a lot is just, actually, I will love to co-create with women that are really empowering in this sense, being amazing in their craft, but also having the fucking resources. Because when we have the resources, we feel really amazing. I mean, you can buy the things for your kids. You can have even a chef if you want to go, instead of you do the meal preps. Is money help you to move so many things? And if conscious women that we are, we have the resources, the money. I think this industry is going to change a lot, having money and the conscious of unconscious creators like ourselves, right?
Oh my God, yes, so much yes to this because you know it's that whole and I was talking about this on podcast yesterday, I think, but it's that whole concept of, especially if you class yourself as spiritual, right? You know, if we're conscious or spiritual or awake, whatever you like to call it, there's a lot of people that will say, well, you don't need money if you're like, you know, consciously awake, or if you're doing like something that's good for the world, like you don't need money. And it's like, no, we live in a 3D world, babe. You know, this is what our souls came here to experience. So let's stop making money like the bad guy, because money just is, like you said, money is neutral. It's just energy. It's our own shit that we put on it that makes it feel good or bad. So when we realize that we can't just be a martyr and sit in our bedroom and say, oh, the world's crap, like, you know, money's the root of all evil, and we're sat just like doing what? We're not helping anyone like that. We're not changing anything like that. So the more money in the hands of good people, the more good we will do in the world. And this is exactly what the millionaire movement is about. It's about empowering women everywhere to say, money is not a bad thing. And in fact, I am worthy of wealth. I'm worthy of wealth. I have the wow factor, I like to call it. And I am claiming my millionaire status because I am worthy of it. And then I can help even more people. I can create an even bigger footprint. I can leave a legacy that long outlives me. You can't do that when you're crying in your bedroom about how much the world sucks.
Yeah, and you mentioned something really key. Like sometimes we think like, oh, the spiritual, or I do believe in this and that. We don't need money. Guess what? The most spiritual thing is the material thing, because everything starts with thought. thought energy. And when you have that thought, that idea, guess what? You get emotionally involved, you act, and the action, let's say you put a program and you receive the money. Money is the last stage of the most spiritual. So if you consider yourself a spiritual, you have to become richer. That's it.
Yes.
It's the last. Some people don't even understand this. And when I was able to not only see that and feeling good, really integrate that in my thoughts, it was like, that is the most spiritual thing that I can do. One of the things that I was just like sharing in one session with one of my clients, she said, well, but I was asking her, what is the car that you want to drive, let's say in 6 months from now, and 1 year from now? Like, well, I just want to just a regular car. So why? Do you really want a regular car? It's like, well, because I want a Porsche, but I think a Porsche is too much. Like, why are you judging your desires? Who's telling you that Porsche is not part of your mission? Who's telling you that fucking Ferrari or that Maserati or for me is Bentley. That's my dream car. My Bentley is not part of my mission. Why having well, listeners, if you have a Toyota or whatever, no offense here. Going to make me more spiritual or helping more people if I choose a Toyota instead of a Maserati. And when she said like, oh, that's so true. It's like, yeah, who's your desires actually are coming from who you really are. If you want the money for you is a milestone that you have, amazing, go for it. Because sometimes we act with artificial desires. I want to help people, just want to help people. Guess what? But if for you, actually one of the motives, there's 7 motives for the way that we actually move as a human beings. There's 7. One of them is actually money and time freedom. So if you don't own that, guess what? You're lying to yourself. And that's why we don't move on the things that we want, because it's like, yeah, you know what? We have. But when you own, you know what? I'm driven by money because I like having the resources. Amazing. And actually, when you move in that sense, people are getting attracted to you because maybe that person wants to activate that code about money that you already embody. But if you're denying or just putting the mask and saying, you know what, no, I'm not interested about that, you're not helping you and you're not helping no one.
Yeah. And you know what, just to touch on the thing about the car, because I really love that, because and I like what was going through my head then is I kind of like to guess how people were thinking like when they're listening to this. But I was like, I bet someone's thinking, yeah, but you should spend that money on something better, right? On something more like that's going to be a kind of better return on investment even, or something that's going to help more people. But what if you flip that and you realize that actually by you having your dream car, right, having your Bentley or your Maserati, or for me it's an Aston Martin, right, like having your dream car makes you that next version of yourself. Correct. And that means that you learn new codes when you are that person. That means you've got even more to share with the world, even more knowledge, even more gifts, even more energy that you didn't have before you embodied that version of you.
That's so true.
It's a growth of your own as well as giving that to the world.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, like sometimes people could say like that is irresponsible and there's so many things about that. But if I just zoom out for a little bit, don't reject or accept what we're sharing here. Zoom out and think, if she has the money to buy a Maserati or a Bentley, you name it, or whatever the car that we like, do you think that she has the money to buy that? Do you think that she's not producing even more because of the woman that she's being? I mean, you have to also sometimes we have to educate ourselves in that sense and just don't judge. Sometimes it's like, yeah, we have to do this and that. Who told you that? When we start questioning the decisions and the traditions and the culture, we arrive to the conclusion that, oh, that decision comes from somebody else. Someone thought that thought. That's it. And I can choose perpetuating this thing that is not working for me, or I can choose something different, even if it feels uncomfortable and even if it feels not know me right now, but I know by embody this code, by walking the path, it's going to feel natural, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I love that so much. I'm gonna stop because otherwise I'm gonna go on another tangent. I know we've gone over.
No, it's all good. But yes, I think that is the movement, like you said, having women creating businesses that feel so right. Like you said, you give the strategy, the messaging, but all it starts with that woman and helping them also to acknowledge their own gifts, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's that complicated and it's that simple.
It's that simple. Well, Claire, if you can share with us before we wrap up, where we can find you, what are the ways that we can get to work together? And after that, I'm going to ask you a question that I always ask my guests.
Okay, yeah. So you can find me on Clare Garner Official on Instagram. I'll like all the links of how to work with me are in my bio. So just head over there, see if you like my vibe. If you do, we can chat about various options.
Amazing. So, Claire, I would love, by now, I already know many of the listeners probably will say, what is that? But I would love for you to share, what is your gift? What is your superpower? What is your superpower?
My gift is my energy. It is my frequency. It's who I enable other people to become in my space.
I love it. Yes, I love it. I think that is just like one of the most beautiful gifts, activating in others what they already have inside. Because you're actually just activating, just like lighting up, and they're like, oh, I can see this. And it's just like, it's like popcorn, like, oh, more and more and more, but it's inside of them. It's not about just like, oh, yes, you. It's not forming a codependent relationship. It's actually, no, I'm just lighting up what I see in you. And that is a true leader, is seeing the potential in others when they're not fully owning it yet what they do, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, love it.
Thank you so much, Claire. It was really a pleasure. It was really delicious, this conversation. And like I said before, it's just an amazing, your energy is really, really amazing, your presence. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
For all you guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and it truly means a lot to me. If you could support us by leaving a 5-star review, it will help us to connect with more extraordinary and influential women like you. With that being said, thanks once again, and let's look forward to an amazing and legendary week ahead.